everyone, this is LockOS, and welcome back to Star Citizen Invictus Launch Week here at Area 18 in the Bevic Convention Center. Today we have a very large and possibly long day here on the Aegis show floor. Pretty much the Aegis floor here today takes up almost the entire Convention Center space. That's how many Aegis ships there are. So let's get to it. In fact, there's so much, I just want to go over here quickly to the map, just to showcase just indeed how much we're going to be looking at today. Now, if you have noticed, a lot of these ships here on display on the Aegis Dynamics show floor are just basically variants of each other. So, thankfully, I don't think we're going to be spending too much time going over each individual variant in hyper detail, but we will go over the important differences. I'm not actually going to cover the main show floor here first. I want to kind of go from left to right this time. And we're going to start by going into the event hall. I believe it's number 4 on the right-hand side as we enter. There we go. Alright, so first section of the show floor here in this back room, we have the Vanguard series here on the wall, and we have our gunship there in the middle. So the Vanguard series are the heavy fighters from Aegis Dynamics. The Harbinger is the bomber variant that has it has the cannons in the nose mounts, a larger cannon underslung the nose, and it actually has a rocket pod. There it is. There are the rocket pods, and has a rocket pod turret up top for shooting off rockets to engage larger targets. And the center bay, as we will show when we pop in, has small size torpedoes. I think those are size 5 torpedoes. I'm not going to showcase too much of the inside of all of these, other than just a quick peek inside. I'll show you the one I own of all these, and we'll do a little more of a thorough tour of that. This is going to be the Vanguard Hoplite. So the Harbinger is the bomber variant. The Hoplite is basically the dropship variant. And it removes the rear habitation module of the Hoplite and turns it into a dropship module with room for 6 people and plenty of gun racks for all their rifles. There is also a turret up top, so you do also keep the turret from the other Vanguard series ships. And you do have a fairly standard loadout of weapons with the ballistic repeaters up top, those being the sawbucks, and then again cannons on the nose, and again a laser. I believe that's the Asperia laser cannon down below. Hoplite's not a bad option, by the way, for a dropship, because being based on the Vanguard series fighter chassis, it's a bit more agile and a bit more tanky, and it's a bit better suited for fighting into and out of combat areas. It's just that your dropship capability is reduced to only just have 6 people, which may be all the people that you're able to gather up anyways, because it really is hard to get big groups in this game currently. So here we have the Aegis Redeemer, which we will cover on our way out, but here's a quick sneak peek of the floating gunship. The Vanguard Sentinel has an attrition laser repeater on the nose. I believe those are either... I want to get on this side. I believe those are also attrition type nose mount guns, or those are the EMP nose mount guns. It's hard to tell sometimes. And then you have a laser repeater up top, and the Sentinel is the E-Warfare variant. In its middle bay, has an electronic warfare station that is currently not implemented, but otherwise it has your standard Aegis Dynamics Harbinger living quarters. And then the one I have, the Vanguard Warden, there you go. Unfortunately, these ships are not fully set up with the new panels yet, so the new buttons. So sometimes it's a bit hard to find the right place to click. But here's your standard Warden. You have an engineering station to monitor the ship's specs, avionics access. You have a turret access, so you can enter the turret. You have a bathroom here, so you can actually go to the bathroom, and this is indeed a shower-toilet combination. You have your little meal prep area, and then you actually have a little closet to store rifles. And you do have 2 beds to sleep in for your 2 crew members. Now, going a little bit more forward here, you have your component room here that leads right into the cockpit. There you go. Come on, game, don't. There you go. As you can see, you have decent visibility all around for a heavy fighter. And that's your Vanguard Warden. It has laser repeaters on the nose, and again, ballistics on the turret. And you have the Suspiria cannon up here on the front, which is a change from before, because I do remember very much in the past that this used to be a Revenant ballistic Gatling gun, and they've now changed it to the Suspiria cannon, which is pretty an interesting choice. Now, going over to the Redeemer gunship, take a quick look on the outside. The Redeemer gunship truly deserves the title of gunship, because the Redeemer has access to, for the pilot, this nose mount turret. If I believe the co-pilot doesn't take control, one of the pilots doesn't take control of it throughout the rest of the ship, because there's, I believe, a co-pilot seat somewhere on the ship that you also can take control of that remote turret. But otherwise, if there's no co-pilot to take control of the remote turret, the pilot gets control of that remote turret, in addition to the 2 fixed guns that the pilot gets, which are these giant cannons right here. I think those are size 4 ballistic cannons. Otherwise, there are 2 dedicated manned turrets, one underneath the Redeemer gunship right here, with repeater guns. And you also have another ballistic repeater set of guns up at the top of the ship. Plus, on top of all of that, you also have a tail gun mount right there that also can then extend out, and then you actually have a tail gun to better cover the rear of the ship. So we're going to take a quick look in. And this is one of the more expensive ships in-game, but it is one of the more modern ones, and it does have a ridiculous amount of firepower. However, I can't really recommend this ship because, as you can see, there's a crew. There are 4 beds, and you are at least going to need three of the crew members to make this ship really effective. 1 pilot and then 1 gunner for each of the 2 turrets, so a total of 3. And even then, it's really recommended that you try to cram the ship full with as many people as possible, because there are other optional seats that we'll get to on the upper deck that really need to be filled in order to get the ship fully capable. But while we're here, in true Aegis fashion, you have, like the Warden, a toilet seat there we go. A toilet shower combo, and that was the toilet extended. This is the exact same one that is in the Aegis Vanguard, Warden, and other series of Vanguard ships. Again, you also have a wardrobe on either side that is similar to the ones shown in the Vanguard series. They pop out. Interestingly, those 2 set of wardrobes over there pop out as well. So each crew member gets their own wardrobe, which is pretty cool. You also have this section of little cargo space over here, which is, I believe, enough for 2 SCU worth of cargo. So if you have, again, mission boxes, if you need to retrieve something that's more of like a cargo box sized or type of object, you can put that there for safe storage. And you even have a little bit of a enhanced crew kitchen right here with more space to actually store food and the like down there. And in fact, there we go. Crouched. We can take and store let's see here. I'm trying to get to that one, but oh well. Ooh, we can carry the berry blend. Just looting. Oh, I think that's why it's vibrating, is because I think... Oh, it's trying to put it in my hip pockets. That's why. Okay, hold on. Alright. Yeah, that's the funny thing. That ship actually does come with free food. So if you are in the middle of the show floor, you can easily just come here and just raid that for extra little bit of food. We don't want to waste too much more time. That was pretty... I keep on forgetting that's a thing that's with the Redeemer, is that when it spawns in with some free food and consumables. So we have four drop seats up here to either pick up people who have been stranded, or to drop in a ground crew of some infantry down on your surface. So you do have jump seats for extra passengers. This rear section right here, because that is the front of the ship, this rear section right here is access to some more components behind these panels, as well as the upper gun turret right there, which is the upper ballistic turret. Gun rack right there. More component access on either side. some honestly glowing red panels for some reason. And right here is access to the lower ballistic turret. And now these two seats here are rear for the remote turret. You have the rear remote turret right here, and you have the front remote turret right there. Keep in mind that you only need 4 crew members to man every single turret. One for the ballistic turret right there, one for the turret right there for the front ballistic turret. And then you also have one for the rear remote turret. The pilot can control the front remote turret if this station here is not manned, but if you want to have a bit more freedom of movement and allow you to attack targets that are a bit more off your off the craft's bore site, using putting someone here is a good idea. And again, there's your cockpit view, cockpit right there. Get in here a little bit so you can see it a bit better. And that's it really for the Aegis Redeemer. Now this is definitely a ship I would not buy with real life money. It's kind of expensive for what it is, which is basically a giant gunboat that you need a ton of people to play with in order to make it worthwhile. And it is beautiful, it is cool, but again, it's kind of expensive for what it is. But it is something that it would be cool to earn in game. So have this as something you want to earn in game rather than buy with real life money. Now, the next ship we're going to cover is another ship that's debatable whether or not to buy. It's not really it's not much of a point to buy it with real life money, because it's kind of expensive. It is expensive, and not only is it expensive, you need plenty of other people to crew it with. And like I've mentioned in previous videos and a lot of my Star Citizen content, it is legit hard to find people to play this game with on a regular basis. So you don't necessarily want to buy a ship like this one, which is the Retaliator, unless you have a big group or you hook up with an org. So we're going to go here. Now, the Retaliator did get a gold pass recently, so we're going to see the Retaliator for the first time here updated. And there's a component access bay to our left. They sealed off the upper and lower hatches right there. This is a docking collar here that's going to extend further out in the future. Now this is the, I believe I want to say this is the cargo variant of the Retaliator. And the Retaliator is modular, so you are going to be able to swap out these bays right here for different things, whether or not you want to swap it out for a cargo bay, eventually a dropship module with a bunch of seats for infantry, habitation, stuff like that. But here we have a cargo bay. Let's take a quick tour of the back. You have your engineering bay right here, as well as a view into the rear cargo bay right here. And then just to make actually it make sense, we're going to exit out the way we came in, and then we're going to loop all around. You have a upper waist turret here. On this little back area, you have, again, more component access. You loop around to the back to enter the lower rear turret. And then you go again, you start looping around back to the front, where again you have turret access to the upper turret on this side. And then, heading towards the front, you have a single bathroom for all 6 crew members. And yes, I did indeed say all 6 to 7 crew. Well, actually 7 crew members, also counting the captain or the pilot. And then you make your way past to the front here. This little section right here, you have the cockpit to the left as you enter in here. But also you have the lower front turret as well, located right before the pilot. And then you have stairs heading up where the crew will be resting. There we go. So you have the upper front turret right here. You have a bunch of gun racks for the crew right here. And then you have the crew's sleeping quarters, which are back here. Again, everything has been updated to more modern textures and stuff, so it looks nice. You have 6 beds for the crew right there. And they all have to sleep in this nice, tight little area back here. At least they get a window to the upper world, at the outer world above them, which is pretty nice. And then we have the the captain or the pilot's cabin right here. So the captain gets his own bed, his own closet, and his own screen. So he gets his own little secluded sleeping area right there. And that's it for the Retaliator bomber. Now the bomber variant has 4 torpedoes up in the front, and then 2 torpedoes in the back, and they're all size 9. So there's some of the bigger torpedoes in the game. Let's see here. It's the Retaliator. So they weren't necessarily cargo rooms back there, but I mean effectively they were cargo rooms. There's nothing really there. That's gonna be the military variant right there, I'm going to assume. Yeah, the Retaliator bomber. So that's the bomber variant with the bomb bays. Nothing really to show in there other than the bomb bays. Now this is the... Theoretically, the empty Retaliator could have cargo modules where you can just unload, you can just load cargo into the modules by hand. But this is going to be the Retaliator with the cargo module. Because the cargo module is going to have these floors that lower down, and then you load your cargo onto here. Or even really, realistically speaking, your small ground vehicles. And then you'll be able to load and unload your ground vehicles from here. Looks like, again, the smaller one is in the back. And the larger one's up in the front. But you could definitely store some small ground vehicles like Gravlev bikes and the stuff here. Don't think you're going to be able to carry much in the way of ground vehicles on this one either. But you can definitely store yet again, like I mentioned, some Grav bikes here. Probably put them side by side. Have fun with that. Oh yeah. So this is the legit, quote-unquote, cargo variant with an actual cargo elevator. Although nothing's stopping you from putting cargo in the other ship. So yeah, you could walk around the edge and then technically board your bikes there if you had them right up against the edge. So that works. But yeah, that's the Retaliator base over there. The Torpedo Bay one just literally has torpedoes stuck in there. If you've seen the older Retaliator videos, it's basically just that. And then you have the Retaliator with the cargo elevators. That's the official cargo variant of the Retali. Again, with this ship, because there's so many manned turrets, you're not really going to get the most out of this ship unless you yourself have a lot of people to crew the turrets. But you can have a lot of fun doing a lot of like high risk missions because this thing is literally covered in a ton of turrets. So you can easily get in, do what you need to do, have quite a lot of people just acting as infantry on the ground, attacking whatever they need to on the ground, and then you just load up your cargo in here, and then everyone jumps in a turret, and they fly away, and basically if anything tries to approach it, they're going to be met with quite a lot of firepower from the turrets. And that's just the base and the standard model. The bomber variant is pretty much meant to tackle air-to-ground target like capital ships, so you're going to be pretty much a threat to any capital ship in this Retaliator. So that's all there is to those. But again, you need a lot of people to make it effective, so don't buy it in the store unless you have a huge number of people that you can crew it with reliably. Alright, going on to now my favorite medium fighter in the game. We have the Aegis Saber Raven. The Aegis Saber. The Raven over there. Actually, the Raven isn't here, which makes sense. The Raven was a Intel exclusive that CIG did quite a while back, and it had some like weird, funky features to it that aren't really super useful, but they're just still fun. The Saber, however, has 4 guns and 4 missiles, and of the medium fighters, it's the more agile and also supposedly more stealthy of the fighters. It's also in lore one of the newer variants of fighters that the UAE has. So there's that also. The Saber Comet basically is a regular Saber with a different custom paint scheme and a different weapons loadout. So it has instead of 4 laser repeaters, it has 2 laser cannons and then 2 scatter guns. And a really cool Arctic digital camo. Firebird is what CIG recently released. And it's the new Aegis ship of the event. It's basically the Saber Comet in rough design. The 4 guns have been whittled down to 2 ballistic Gatling guns. So you're going to be running ballistics for your guns. And you have, I believe it was 12 size 3 missiles. So this is very much the missile boat variant of the Saber. I can't really recommend this ship, mainly because you have ballistics for your default loadout. You have ballistic Gatling guns, so you're going to run out of ammo with those, and you're not going to have any gun ammo. And you might think that the 12 missiles might make up for it, except right now, and for quite a long time, missile gameplay outside of Arena Commander is kind of crap. Missiles tend to go wide. They'll lock and they'll miss their target a lot of the time. Until the server performance gets up to snuff, I can't really recommend missile boats in the actual PU, but it can be a lot of fun in Arena Commander. But even then, you're spending a lot of money. It would be much more preferable to go spend the money on an Aegis Saber rather than the Firebird, just because you're going to get more utility out of having a few missiles and having a larger gun armament on it. Now we get to cover some of the more bigger ships over here eventually, after we work our way from Hull 1 to Hull 2. But first, we're going to visit Hull 1, because Hull 1 has the starter ships for Aegis. It has the Avenger series, with the Avenger Titan being the standard Avenger series ship, for use for everyone, and it's highly recommended by a lot of people. I can't say anything bad about it. It is a decently solid ship. There are definitely other options, but you can't go wrong with starting out with a Aegis Avenger Titan, which is going to be on our right-hand side. As soon as the game decides to start behaving itself. So, good old Aegis Titan, the Avenger Titan. You have a nose-mounted Gatling gun, and then 2 laser cannons on the wings, and you actually have a small missile armament as well. And the Titan's claim to fame is a small cargo bay here on the back, where you can load up some small ground vehicles, like the recently released Mirai Pulse. It'll fit nice and snug back here. Along with, I believe, 1 or 2 other ground vehicles can fit back here, but you're not talking about a lot of ground vehicles that can fit back here. Mainly, this is good enough cargo space for a couple of SCU worth of cargo, or a couple of SCU worth of mission boxes. Also, which is really nice about the Avenger Titan, is that it has its own bed. And has its own little component room back here. And then there's the cockpit up front with a nice wide open cockpit for really good visibility. And I do believe some variants of the Avenger series have also a secondary access point here as a ladder. So you can enter both either through the rear or through the front. So it's a very good starter ship. A lot of people love it for a good reason. And then let's see here what we have back here. This is the Warlock EMP variant. So it replaces the cargo module with a EMP generator that can disable ships. We're going to be covering that ship on the way out. That is Aegis's stealth bomber. Here, we have the Aegis Avenger Stalker, which is the bounty hunter variant of the Avenger series. And this is actually the OG Avenger. The Titan was actually one of the first variants of a ship they made. And with the Avenger Stalker, you have room for 6 prisoners in the back. So you definitely have enough room to start capturing a lot of bounties. And you have the special variant of the Aegis, the Avenger Titan Renegade. This is similar to the Comet in that it's a slightly different weapons loadout and a custom paint scheme. So you have ballistic cannons on this one, and then different missiles, a different paint scheme. But otherwise, it is a fairly standard ship in the back. As a Titan, so you have your cargo room back there. you have the Aegis Eclipse right here. This is the basically F117 of the DC of Star Citizen. It's a single person stealth bomber. There are 3 size 9 torpedoes in its torpedo bay down there, and that's pretty much all it has for armament and firepower, because the only other thing it has are these 2 small guns on either wingtip, and they're basically, I think, size 1 guns. So between 2 size 1 guns for self-defense and strafing, very lightly armored targets, or to just annoy a target after you've shot your 3 size 1 torpedoes at it. That's all there is. This is very much a ship that, if you want to take out capital ships in any of the big events Star Citizen has, this is definitely a go-to ship for that. But keep in mind, you only got 3 size 9 torps, and unfortunately torpedoes, and along with missiles in this game, have a habit of not following directions and just completely losing lock, going pit bull, just like flying off into the wilderness, or doing death loops around the target without actually detonating or hitting it. So do keep in mind, Aegis Eclipse, cool looking ship. Bombers are fun to play in the events, but you're not really going to get a whole lot of use out of it, so don't waste your money, your real life money on it. Pick it up in game, because it is a lot of fun to fly and shoot those size 9 torpedoes as a single ship against larger ships in like Xeno Threat and like the other missions where you're fighting against larger cap ships and sub-cap ships. So now we have the Aegis Gladius here, and that's the Gladius of Valiant there on the left. Okay, that's interesting. They just only brought 2 of the same Gladiuses to the show. So we have the Gladius Valiant here on display, which is basically a Aegis Gladius, which you've seen plenty of times in Star Citizen, because this is going to be your main fighter for Squadron 42, or at least your entry-level fighter for Squadron 42. You have instead of a ballistic gun on the nose of the Gladius, you have a laser repeater, and then you have laser cannons on the wingtips. And then you have 2 size 3 missiles in total, and then 8 size 1 missiles also on the wingtips. Now I will say that of all the light fighters, I really like the Aegis Gladius. You have a decent amount of gun weapons on the Gladius series of ships, and not only that, it's backed up by a decent number of missile hardpoint availability, where you can actually take either 4 size 3s, or you can take like a total of 16 size 1s, or you can really play around with different hardpoints, which are going to be the white rail up there. You can definitely play around with that, different configurations, and you can definitely load a whole bunch of missiles onto the ship while still having a decent gun armament. Plus, the cockpit visibility is pretty good, and the Gladius is going to be one of the ships that, up until Squadron 42's release, is going to get the most amount of love and attention from CIG, because this is the gold standard. This is, again, their gold standard baby for Squadron 42. This is going to be the ship that you're going to be assigned and piloting throughout the entire adventure, or at least significant portions of it. So it has all the fun features, like, for instance, a door right here that allows you to store a rifle. So you can store 2 rifles right there. And then you also have down here some storage down here, so you can Let's see here if it'll be open. No, it might not be open because of the fact that this is a show floor variant, so they don't want to open everything up. But let's see here. Oh, we can open this fuel access right here. So that's the refueling port on the bottom of the ship for the ground crew to refuel the ship. Man, the game has been super laggy. I wonder if it's because, I'll be honest, it's probably, a lot of people are probably hammering the show floor to see everything and get all their stuff in. Quantum drive access. So there you go. Access to like all the component bays open up on this ship. Open up access to the radar and avionics down there. I just want to see one last time around the this, again, starting to get long in the tooth, although this is one of those... Yeah, it's not just letting you get to that cargo section back there, which is fair. That's the Aegis Gladius. There's a lot of components that open up, a lot of bays and hatches that open up. This is now the Hammerhead. And the Hammerhead is indeed one of the larger ships we have in game. This is definitely a ship that you absolutely need a crew to operate. The pilot has control of, I believe, only some few missiles. And other than that, you need, I think, at least... No, you need access to 6 people to crew all the turrets. And then there's a slot and a space for an engineer. And I have toured this ship many times in previous videos, so I'm just going to do a quick tour of the outside here. But the Hammerhead indeed needs a huge complement of crew in order to run. But plenty of people have flown this ship with a huge crew in-game. And it's been lots of fun for them. They've done, like, I've heard stories of people, like, soloing, like, whole entire missions in the Hammerhead just because of all the power it has. So it is a very fun ship. Just keep in mind, it's a ship you don't want to earn. You don't want to really buy with real life money unless you know you have the crew to run it, because otherwise you'd be wasting your money. And it's definitely something worthy to earn in game, because this is definitely one of those end game ships right now. More ships that are even bigger than this are going to come in to play, but this is currently one of the best ships to have as a goal, because it's a lot of in-game money in order to buy this. But I'm not going to go ahead and tour that now. I've toured it many times. It really hasn't changed much inside. There's about the crew have their own bathrooms. The captain has his own separate bathroom. There's a mess hall on the second floor that has a little window. It's pretty nice. There's even a little bit of a cargo bay in the back, so you can do missions in it that require some cargo carrying around. So it is a fun ship. It's just, keep in mind, it's definitely one you're going to need a lot of crew to operate effectively. Be heading down into the Hall of Viewer rooms, because there's nothing on the lower level that Aegis has for display that's currently flyable. I will say, back in that room, definitely consider the Gladius as an option for your main ship if you're definitely considering combat in this game. It's one of the best. It's I think one of the better light fighters in the game. Especially from its price point. You might be able, now. Granted, you can definitely get something more exotic if you want to go for an alien ship. However, with the alien ships, do keep in mind that they're quite a bit more expensive, because that is the alien attacks coming into play. So it's definitely, I would say, Aegis Gladius is probably one of the best light fighters in the game, and it's a ton of fun because, again, you have a good bit of missile payload with a decent bit of gun armament to back it up. So, to wrap up this video, we are now in Aegis Dynamics' Holo Viewer area. The Aegis Nautilus is a mine-laying ship for Star Citizen. Its main purpose is to lay and deploy mines. It has some turrets for self-defense, but other than that, it's mainly meant to deploy either mines or turrets, like space turrets, to defend an area. And other than that, that's its only job. And since we don't have mine or turret gameplay coming into effect anytime soon, don't expect to see this ship for quite a long time. This is definitely going to be a ship you're probably waiting for at least another, I would say, 3 to 4 years. So don't buy it with real life money unless you expect that you really, really want to have it for some reason. But even then, I wouldn't buy it. It's going to be a ship JPEG, I believe, for longer than probably the Banding Merchantman ever will be. On that note, we will probably get the Banding Merchantman before this. That's how little faith I have in this ship coming out anytime in the reasonable future. Sadly, another ship that I believe is going to be in a long, long time in coming is the Aegis Vulcan here. Like the Apollo series of medical ships from RSI, the Apollo and the Vulcan here are being held back, I believe, currently because they use drones. The Apollo uses drones to pick up patients on the ground and whisk them back to the Apollo then to be healed. But the Aegis Vulcan, however, is a support ship that instead of healing people, it heals ships. So the Aegis Vulcan goes around. There are 4 drones, and the drones can perform rearming, repair, and refueling operations. And the drone operators, I think there are at least 2 drone. I think there are 2 drone operators. They sit in drone operator seats, and they go ahead and control the drones from the ship. And then the drones go out and do the repairs and refueling and rearming, and then whenever that drone is done, it returns back. And then the other drone can be deployed, so you can set up different drones for different roles. Or even as one drone gets sent out, you can have a 4th person, I believe, and I do believe this is a ship that has 4 people. The 4th person can service the drone and get it ready for its next mission. But otherwise, the Aegis Vulcan, we're not going to see it anytime soon. Repair mechanics are kind of simplistic as of the moment, and drone tech is not on any sort of roadmap that I know of. So, unfortunately, we're not going to see this ship for quite a long, long time. And that's it for Aegis Dynamics Day. Thankfully, I kept this video relatively short for as many Aegis ships as there are. Aegis Dynamics and Anvil Aerospace are the 2 major manufacturers in Star Citizen for military ships, so it does make a sense that for Invictus, they basically take over the entire show floor. Next up tomorrow is, well, not tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow I'll actually finally release the F4 Phantom will come out, and we'll do a DCS content for the F4 Phantom. But after that, we have Anvil Aerospace, and with Anvil Aerospace Day on Thursday, Anvil Aerospace is going to be on Thursday. We're going to have, I don't think any new ships. I don't think we're getting new ships for Anvil Aerospace, but we'll do this again for Anvil Aerospace, and I fully expect again to see all of this convention center probably taken up for Anvil Aerospace, because Anvil has, for instance, the Carrack, it has the Valkyrie dropship, it has a lot of fighters, it has the whole series of Hornet fighters. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot, so. I will say then, until next time, this has been Lock OS signing out from Star Citizen, and we'll see you all in Star Citizen in 2 days, so until then, have fun, fly safe, and check out the Invictus show floor here at Area 18. Can walk up to any of the again if you haven't realized already. Can walk up to any of the ships and try them out for a couple of days. See you all in the future.